Hi guys, welcome back, and today I'll be doing the next part for What If Goten Was Born First. Sorry it's been a while for this story, however I wasn't sure how much people were enjoying it, and I kind of had an issue writing out the next part, not really knowing where I wanted to take Goten as a character. I had a planned out character arc and I ended up not liking it, so I had to alter it ever so slightly. Anyway, I think I've written something people should enjoy and something I'm pretty proud of, so I hope people are looking forward to it. With that all said, let's get going. 7 years have passed since the Battle with Cell. A lot in this timeline, at first glance, seems the same. Krillin and 18 are married, Vegeta has grown accustomed to everyday life on Earth and actually almost enjoys it, and thanks to having Goku in his life, it leads to the man just being overall happier, and actually causes the pair to train together, but this is something I'll cover more later. As for the Sun family, on the surface things don't seem too different. Of course, there are some changes however. The obvious one is Goten is the older brother, and Goku is alive. But there's more changes than just that under the surface, and this is in the two youngest Sun family members, Gohan and Goten. Let's start with Gohan, the younger of the brothers, and in this timeline he isn't all that different from his original self, back before he was taken by Raditz and trained by Piccolo. He's a shy, timid kid who likes to study and dreams of being a scholar. However, here in this timeline he has taken a bit more of an interest in training thanks to not only Goten wanting his younger brother to have fun and play with him, but also Trunks, who in this timeline isn't all that different, and actually encourages Gohan to train a little bit. And thanks to both of these factors, Gohan does take a bit of an interest in martial arts, and he starts playing around with his father and brother at first, and soon actually starts taking it somewhat seriously, occasionally training with his father and brother while he studies with most of his free time. And thanks to Gohan being different from Goten, Trunks is mildly affected himself. Not only is his father much more willing to train with the boy, he also is much more interested in studying, so he takes up a bit of his own time to study under his mother or even study with Gohan. But it's very rare, and the kids still play together an awful lot, being best friends, which is no different from canon. As for Goten, the boy has long since become the strongest person on the planet. After mastering Super Saiyan 2, overtaking Vegeta and Goku, and just overall training hard for the first year, Goten loses his love for martial arts. He has grown so strong that it takes Goku and Vegeta training together for months in high gravity to even challenge him. And even when they do, he manages to overtake them in a few months thanks to his hybrid potential. And because of this, Goten feels like he's plateaued, like no one will ever surpass him. And this just makes him complacent with his power. Sure, he trains occasionally to keep in fighting shape, or whenever Goku or Vegeta overtakes him, but he has a hard time finding the motivation to train, so he looks for something else to do. He begins to explore the planet that he had defended for so many years. He gets to see things he has never thought he could, gets to meet new friends, meet old friends, come across people his father knew, and at some point he comes across an old foe on a small island, and this foe has set up shop, set up home, and begun his own life here. This, of course, is Android 17. At first, Goten and 17 share a look towards one another, both waiting for the other to make a move to start fighting, but instead, they talk. Goten learns about 17 and what he's been doing for the last year after the Cell games. Hearing how 17 had set up a life for himself on this island as a park ranger, he has a woman he's deeply interested in and plans to marry, but for now he's just leading his best life he can. Goten is happy that 17 and 18 have both found things they want to do with their lives, and Goten and 17 actually start talking even more. Goten learns that 17 is no longer a bad guy, and probably never was. He was just following the orders of a deranged man, and he might have not even had much control in it. And as they start talking, they learn that they both have a love for nature and animals. The two slowly bond, becoming friends, and Goten learns what he wants to do with his future. He wants to be like 17, he wants to be a park ranger, he wants to keep the animals and the planet that he's defended for so many years safer than he already could, but on a very different level. He wants to keep the amazing creatures of this planet safe from poachers, and for now, he plans to keep it to himself. He wants to relax a little while longer. He had saved the world so much, he feels like he deserves a bit of a break. However, when he feels like the time is ready, he wants to ask 17 if he too can become a park ranger, But for now, Goten wants to relax for a few more years. But he does share his dream with his parents and tells them that he wants to be a park ranger. Of course, both Goku and Chi-Chi are supportive of the boy's goal. Chi-Chi is upset that Goten won't be becoming a scholar like she had kind of wished, but she's happy to see that her son will be at least pursuing a life that he will enjoy, something that he will be good at, and hopefully something that will pay him well so we can keep any future family of his safe. Goten thanks his parents for their support, and Chi-Chi begins to put more of her attention towards supporting Gohan into becoming the capable scholar the boy wants to be. As for Goku, he's happy that Goten has found something he's passionate about, something that he can aim towards as a park ranger, and he pushes Goten to chase his dream like never before. Goku knows a life without a passion is a life not worth living. However, during these 7 years he's been desperately trying to relight his son's passion for fighting. Not for any selfish reason, he just wants to see Goten pursue all aspects of his life. He wants to relight that passion his son once had. It was the greatest years of Goku's life, getting to train alongside his son when he was little, and even when they were in the time chamber, they are some of the most special memories Goku holds of Goten, and he wants to make sure that Goten can experience that if he's ever to start his own family. If Goten's to have his own child, and have that privilege of training alongside them, being proud of what they do, Goku wants to make sure that Goten has that feeling too. Alongside this, Goku still believes that the torch of defending the planet does somewhat need to be passed on. So he wants to make sure that Goten is up for any challenge which may appear in the future, if something was to happen to himself or Vegeta. So, Goku tries to relight Goten's passion any way he can. At first, he trains hard alongside Vegeta in the gravity chamber to overtake his son, but it only really takes Goten a month or two of hard training to overtake the pure-blooded Saiyans once again, with Goku and Vegeta having to repeat this harsh training to overtake Goten once more, and Goten just trains hard for a month or two once more. There's a vicious cycle of the Saiyans pushing themselves to their utmost limit to overtake Goten, for the boy to only surpass them in a few months. It's vicious, but also incredibly beneficial, and this cycle repeats for most of our time skip. And near the end of our 7-year time skip, around the original timeline where Gohan would be going to Orange Star High School, the other person who's been trying to get Goten back into martial arts, the first man to ever train the boy, Roshi, has been spending the 7 years trying to figure out how to relight that passion for Gohan himself. And he's been brainstorming some ideas, but he hasn't come up with anything. And that is until he hears of the World Martial Arts Tournament that Roshi finally has an idea. Once catching wind of it, he calls his pupil over to his island. He then informs Goten that he would like him to take part in the upcoming tournament, since he is the only member of the Turtle School to not try out a Tenkaichi Budokai. Goten at first gets excited, and thinks of the idea about inviting his dad, Vegeta, 17, everyone else, and his Saiyan blood pumps. But that's when Roshi tells the boy to not invite anyone. Goten looks confused, telling Roshi that he will just sweep the entire tournament if someone like his father isn't there. But Roshi just scoffs, telling Goten that he could be surprised. The world has a lot of other amazing fighters out there, and his father found a lot of his strongest allies to this day at a world tournament. So, he should trust his mentor's words and try out the Tenkaichi Budokai without informing anyone. The boy thinks it over before agreeing to do so. Roshi tells him to be ready as he feels there might be a strong fighter just waiting for him. Goten, hearing this, does smile at the thought of a good challenge, but is really concerned that Roshi might have gone senile. There cannot be anyone on this planet who could challenge him, right? And with Goten leaving, Roshi makes a call back to the Sun family house. Knowing that Goten will take a few minutes to arrive home, he calls his first student in Goku, telling him to head towards the island, but to not let his energy appear up, so advises the man to use the Nimbus. Goku, confused at why Roshi wants him, decides to agree, calling for Nimbus and heading off towards Kame House, getting by all but unnoticed as Goten arrives home to find his father not in. Nothing new, he's probably off training with Vegeta, so he doesn't think too much of it, not even bothering to scan the planet. As with Goku, however, he arrives at his mentor's home, asking Master Roshi what he wanted. And over these last few years, the pairs have talked a lot of how to get Goten back into fighting, and now Master Roshi has an idea. He shares with Goku about the upcoming tournament, and how he has told Goten to take part in it. Goku, hearing this, gets excited himself. The idea of having everyone in that tournament could be so fun, and his eyes burn with a bright passion. But Roshi just bonks the man on the head with his staff, telling him that he will be the only other fighter partaking in the tournament. Goku looks confused as Roshi sighs, explaining, "The most dangerous thing for a martial artist to do is get complacent. That's what's happened to Goten. I wish to reignite that passion in him. I want him to be motivated more than ever to become the strongest he can be and to lead the best life he can. But to do that, he needs a challenge. He needs to understand that there will always be someone stronger than him out there. Lesson you learnt early on in your training." Goku thinks back to Chucky-chun, Tien, Demon King Piccolo. Everyone he had ever fought had all infused this message into him, and Goku can't help but agree. Roshi goes on explaining, but even though Goten had trained and fought these incredibly strong opponents, during this time of peace, he is the strongest person on this planet. So to relight that motivation for him, we have to make him believe that there is an Earthling stronger than him. Goku sighs, thinking how the closest person he could think of is like Krillin, or maybe even Tien, and how they don't really have time to be training up a new fighter. Roshi then explains how he plans to train Goku. "I want to teach you the ultimate technique of the Turtle School, something that took your grandpa a long time to master. However, he would love me to teach it to you." Goku gets excited at the idea, as Roshi explains his plan. To disguise Goku as a normal person, disguise him as the sun, as Chucky-chun to be more precise. Goku will undergo some harsh training to learn the ultimate technique of the Turtle School, and then he will fight Goten, beat him without using any of his Saiyan abilities, and this should relight the boy's motivation for training. Goku gets excited at this idea, but wonders if his ki will be a giveaway to who he is. Roshi laughs, saying how the technique he plans to teach him should change Goku's ki enough that it shouldn't give away who he is. Goku can't believe it that Master Roshi might have a technique like this, and Roshi explains how it comes with years of training, but he has only a short amount of time for Goku to master it. Unfortunately, that's the one thing they don't have a lot of. So, Goku brings up the idea of the Room of Spirit and Time, something Roshi had heard about and already planned on using. So, after getting some preparations done, sharing with Chi-Chi how he'll be away training for a little bit, Goku and Roshi heading to the time chamber for a few hours to help Goku hone a technique which Roshi believes his student is now ready for. Once leaving, Goku is much stronger and has all but mastered the technique Roshi wanted to show him. He tells his student to be ready to show Goten that there is always a stronger fighter out there, and he hopes that Goku can show this lesson. The man confidently nods his head as they all head home and rest up, waiting for the tournament to come around. And it soon does, with Goten waking up on the day of the tournament and, with a bit of an optimistic smile on his face, flies off towards the tournament grounds bright and early in hopes to find someone who could truly challenge him. Goku follows along not too long afterwards, flying on the Nimbus to make sure his presence goes unnoticed. He also changes his hair and outfit just to make sure that Goten wouldn't recognise him without looking too much into it, and heads towards it. He also enters under the name of Bruce Chun, thinking back to the person he had fought all those years ago called Chucky-chun, hoping this will be okay. With most of the Z fighters not being present, there is actually qualifying rounds for this tournament, and in which Goten manages to show off a little bit, not really having to try and easily able to defeat all of his opponents in 1 or 2 hits. And during this time, he starts to realise that there might not be anyone who could truly challenge him. That is until Bruce Chun steps into his ring to do his first battle, which is when Goten gets a look at the man's martial arts fighting style. Not only that, but he gets a sense for his battle power, and both are relatively impressive, but Goten can tell he's holding back a lot of power, and he's excited at the prospect. But he also feels like he's seen this man somewhere before. He can't quite place it, he's just familiar in some way. But for now, the excitement of fighting this guy is starting to get to him, and he's not thinking completely straight. With the qualifying rounds over, for the sake of simplicity, I'll explain it like this. Most of the tournament's lineup is the same, just remove all the Z fighters and replace them with other random fighters, and replace Gohan with Goten. This means that people like Goku, Spokovic, Yamu, Vidal, Supreme Kai, and Kibito are all still present in the tournament, and are in the same matchups they were in canon. And to save myself having to go over a lot of boring fights, let's just quickly cover what would happen in the Supreme Kai's match, and then go to Vidal's, which would be the next interesting one. With the Supreme Kai, he would quickly and efficiently knock out the mortal he's facing and be declared the winner. He wouldn't want to do too much damage. With just one swift chop of the neck, he would knock the guy out. Secondly would be Vidal versus Spokovic, and unfortunately here Vidal is much weaker, and it is a brutal fight for the girl. She was brutalised in canon, and here she is really unable to put up a fight. She gets a few hits in, but this does nothing to the likes of Spokovic. Everyone in the crowd and the other fighters watch in horror, while Spokovic destroys the young girl. Goten and Goku watch worried for the girl's life, and soon stop watching from the side. Goten's rage flares up, rushing into the arena as he kicks Spokovic out of bounds, before turning to help Vidal, who is hardly alive. The crowd cheers for Goten, and he places his hands on Vidal's body, infusing a trace amount of ki into it to help boost the girl's chances of surviving, helping her endurance, her endorphins and everything kick into overdrive. The girl weakly thanks Goten, who just gives a small smile, before feeling a sharp pain spread throughout his body. He looks back to see Yamu having stabbed him with the energy draining device, taking a good deal of Goten's energy before shouting out for his ally to follow along. Spokovic has to pull himself out of the arena and then follows suit. Goku, watching from the side, goes to give chase, but is slowed down by the Kais. More importantly, he's slowed down by Shin. The man explains that he knows who he is Son Goku, and he needs his help. Goku's shocked, wondering how Shin saw past his awesome disguise, and wonder if Goten did the same. Shin just laughs awkwardly, explaining that he needs his help, and they need to follow along behind those margins, and if they don't do so soon, a great evil will be unleashed on this world. Goku, hearing this, decides that right now is no time for a tournament, and motivating Goten will have to be for another day. So, he quickly removes the disguise, making sure that no one sees him change out of it, changes his hair back to normal, and gets back into his normal gear, before telling Shin he's ready to go. The two chase after the two margins, while Goten is healed by Kibito. But soon, once Goten is healed, Kibito and Goten start chasing after the pair once more. While flying, Goku is filled in on the legend of Majin Buu and Babidi, and once Goten catches up, he's surprised to see his father. Goku quickly chuckles to himself, having to come up with a lie, and he explains how he was just watching the tournament from afar after seeing Goten leave early hours in the morning, and he was just curious what was going to happen. For now, Goten takes this as the truth. With the threat of Majin Buu round the corner, he doesn't have too much time to question it, and soon the group arrive at Babidi's lair. Here, with the group down a lot of fighters, everyone is much more on guard, so when Dabura attacks, Goku manages to pull Kibito out of the way, avoiding Dabura's attack, and since there are so little fighters, Dabura doesn't spit on anyone, only having tried to kill Kibito just to lessen the odds a little bit more, but with that failing, he decides just to leave everyone else intact. With Kibito reluctantly thanking Goku, he shakes it off, telling them that it was nothing. The group get ready to approach the ship, heading inside. Goku and Goten get ready to fight, but are warned not to give off too much energy. This makes things more difficult, however the duo of Goku and Goten easily defeat Pui Pui and Yakon in one-on-ones without ever needing to use Super Saiyan. Heading down one more floor, the two fighters come face to face with Dabura, the Demon King. He tells the pair that they don't stand a chance against him. Having not shown off any Super Saiyan forms, he is convinced he is their superior. Goten senses the man energy, and can tell that he is around the same strength as Cell, causing Goten to tell his father that he will deal with Dabura, since he is the stronger of the two. However, Goku walks forward, telling his son to sit and watch, announcing how he will defeat the Demon King without using his Super Saiyan states. Goten is confused, cocking his eyebrow, but Goku walks forward, controlling his breathing, steady in his mind, and watching as Dabura approaches towards him slowly and swings his sword fast towards Goku's head. However, the man, without wasting a movement, avoids the attack by ducking underneath it. After avoiding it, he spins on his heel and drives his elbow directly into Dabura's chest. The attack doesn't do much but surprise Dabura at Goku's speed, and angers him a little bit, as he starts widely swinging his sword towards Goku. Goku starts dodging once more, effortlessly, as if he's avoiding every attack without any thought, avoiding swing after swing, and at some point dodging one swing of the sword by doing a backflip. But while doing so, he wraps his legs around the weapon and pulls it out of Dabura's grasp, kicking it to the floor. Goku then jumps forward, ramming his knee into the demon's face, and Dabura, who is slightly out of breath, staggers backwards. Goku finally sees this opening, and not wanting to give off too much energy, puts his hands upwards and throws off a Destructo Disc. cleanly cutting Dabura in two, winning the fight without ever having to transform. Goten is amazed, and so are the Kais, with Goten looking at his father, seeing a slight silver in his eyes. He asks what that was. Goku explains it's the final lesson Roshi had to teach him, something where he has to remove his ego from his mind, allowing his mind and body to work together as one, making their movements more efficient and dodging much more effortless. Goten feels something he hadn't felt in a while hearing this, a feeling that he wants to learn this state, master it, and start playing with it, learning what he could do with it, maybe combining it with Super Saiyan. He's not sure what the limits are, but he wants to know more. But for now, they have a bigger threat, killing Babidi. It doesn't take them too long to wander to the bottom layer of his ship. He tries everything he can think of, tries mind controlling Goku or Goten, but both are very pure, even scouring the planet for anyone, trying to mind control Piccolo, Vegeta, while they are at home training. But all this does is give the pair a headache, as they shake it away and wonder what's going on. But before too much more can happen, the group arrives at the bottom layer, quickly killing Babidi, and then grabbing hold of the egg. They take it outside the ship as Goku fires off a ki blast, destroying whatever was there of Babidi's ship. And Shin gets hold of the egg and plans to take it to Beerus. However, first he spends a moment thanking both Saiyans, telling them how he is in their debt and isn't sure how he could repay them. Before having an idea, he asks them if either of them would like to come train under him, learn from the Kais, maybe even become a Kai in training themselves, telling the pair that it would allow them to defend planets all over the universe from evildoers. Plus, he could teach them a great deal of things. Goku politely declines, telling Shin that he doesn't train to beat bad guys, but to improve himself, so he might not be fit for this job. Before looking over to his son and grabbing him by the shoulders, pushing Goten forward a little bit, and telling them that Goten would be a much better fit. This flusters Goten a little bit, who asks his father what he's doing, but Goku just chuckles, telling the Kais that Goten plans to become a park ranger on Earth, a job which allows him to defend the animals of the planet, so maybe instead he could become a Kai and defend every animal in the universe. Goten goes a bit red, but Shin tells Goten that's very noble, and he would happily take him along, allowing the boy to train, become stronger, and defend anything in the universe. This causes Goten to ponder it over for a few seconds, before he politely declines the offer. This shocks Goku and the Kais, but Goten just explains how he actually wants to just spend some more time on Earth. Ever since he was a kid, he fought and fought and fought to defend this planet, and now he's found a career he wants to pursue as a park ranger. He wants to defend the animals of the planet. He has a thing to train towards, a job he wants to pursue, and new friends he's made while exploring the world. He truly just wants to live a somewhat normal life. He doesn't want to be defending the universe. Of course, if it comes up to it, he will always step up to the plate, and he'll continue to train to make sure he can defend it to the best of his abilities. However, he's more like his father than most people realise. He trains just because he enjoys it, no other reason. He isn't a superhero of any kind, just someone who truly enjoys one form of martial arts and the ideology behind it. So he apologises, but he'll have to decline. The Kais understand, and Shin's a bit upset to say he won't be getting any of the students, but tells them the offer will always stand. Both thank them, and as they soon leave. With both gone, Goten turns to his father, asking for the man to start teaching him the new technique as soon as possible. Goku smiles brightly, saying that it can be in at this very second if Goten wishes, causing the boy to smile. They begin sparring immediately, as Goku starts teaching him the new ideology behind this fighting style and technique. Soon, time begins to fly by. Goten's passion for martial arts has been relit, and he begins training somewhat frequently. However, most of his free time goes to learning how to be a park ranger under 17's tutorage, and Goten picks it up really fast. The two work out an agreement once Goten's training is complete, where Goten will work 1 month alongside 17. The next month, Goten will have it off, and 17 will work alone. Then the month after, 17 will have the month off, and Goten will work alone. This way allows them to have a lot of free time, and still get to see their families, and have a general enjoyable time with one another. And that 1 month together, Goten convinces 17 to train with him. The two grow decently strong from this, and 17's strength will be discussed later on. But thanks to Goten's involvement, 17 having a family and just his whole existence is much more widely known. Even when Goku goes to visit, he even gets a bit of a sparring session out of the bio-android. But with Goten having to spend a few months at a time on the island, it's not very often that Chi-Chi or Goku see him. And when they do, it's because they've made a trip out to go see him. The boy is also considering setting up a house not too far from the island, just so he's always nearby work, in case 17 needs him. Not that he thinks anything could ever pose a threat to them, it's more of just a precaution. So, one day while Goten's out doing one of his month-long trips out to the island, something strange happens at Mount Paozu. One day, a girl and a man arrive at Goku's house. Both look very familiar to the man, but he can't really figure it out. The young girl demands to see son Goten, and Goku explains that he isn't home and currently won't be back for a while. The girl looks a bit defeated, which helps Goku remember her as Vidal, the woman who Goten saved during the World Martial Arts Tournament. He asks how the girl's been, and is happy to see that she made a full recovery after the battle. Vidal thanks the man, but hangs her head low. She doesn't like being recognised for that defeat. This causes her father to speak up, saying that Vidal and himself wished to thank Goten for saving her life. And Vidal was wondering if he would be willing to train her, since he seemed pretty strong and had some fancy tricks up his sleeve. However, it's clear Hercule is reluctant for Vidal to learn any of these tricks. Goku starts thinking to himself, and at this point Chi-Chi and little Gohan would wander outside to see Goku talking to two strangers, both listening in to the conversation. Goku thinks a little before telling Vidal that Goten should be returning in a month or two. He's not exactly sure how his timetable works, and he for the most part just waits to see his son arrive. And thanks to his job being a bit demanding, he hasn't got a lot of free time to train her. However, if she wishes, she can train under him until he arrives home, and then can apologise him to directly and ask him to train her once she's back. He should be able to get to a point where she can at least somewhat pose a challenge to Goten. Vidal and Mr. Satan aren't sure, wondering how strong Goku could truly be, and even asking this. But the man just laughs, telling the pair that he was the World Martial Arts Champion at one point, and is probably only a little weaker than his son. This allows Vidal and Mr. Satan to recognise the man from the 23rd Tenkaichi Budokai, and the father and daughter think it over for a second before accepting, having Goku stand in for Goten until he returns home. Goku smiles, telling Vidal that their training will start tomorrow. It will more than likely just be him seeing where she is, however, he's happy to show her anything she wishes to learn. Vidal smiles a little bit from this, having already planned to learn how to fly and use Ki Blast from the man, having done her research and actually seen a video of Goku performing in a fight against Cell from the Cell games. Knowing that Goku is the person who defeated him, he's interested to see what the man has to offer, and tells him that she'll give it her everything she's got, as she starts turning around and heading back towards the ship she arrived on. While Mr. Satan takes a long hard look at Goku, he feels as if he had seen the man before, but he can't quite place it. But he shakes that thought away. He then asks Goku how much he'll be charging per lesson, and before Goku can even speak, Chi-Chi screams from the other side of their house, 1,000 zeni per lesson, causing Goku to flinch up, Mr. Satan to think it over and nod his head, telling the man that he'll have it sent with Vidal every day before she leaves. Chi-Chi's eyes widen at the thought of making easy money, while Goku feels a bit dirty for doing so, but at least his wife is happy, and this means he doesn't actually have to work on that farm she's been thinking about making him set up. Goku begins Vidal's training, and thanks to him having trained Goten, he has a better understanding of where to begin with the girl, teaching her how to use Ki, doing some physical training using weighted gi, anything he can that he used to do as a kid and he had made Goten do when he was younger. This allows Vidal to grow massively strong in a short amount of time. However, her growth and progression will be saved for the next part, as we end this part here. Sorry this is a very fillery bit, but you've got to keep in mind, a hybrid consistently training, or at least somewhat training harder than Gohan did in canon, is just going to sweep the floor with Buu. Maybe not as much as if it was Gohan, but definitely to a high deal. Plus, Goku and Vegeta are much stronger in this timeline, thanks to having to try and motivate Goten. I know I didn't really touch on Vegeta in this bit, but it wasn't needed. This whole story was supposed to be about Goten finding his love for martial arts again. This all being said, I do hope everyone enjoyed. Hope you all have a great day and a good night, and hopefully I'll see you next time. See you later.